we've got tariffs coming up. So, and again, that's going to change the industry dramatically. I think in Ontario, where I'm at, I'm in the manufacturing end of it. So we get to hear all the wonderful little rumors and things that fly all over the place. And most of it is fear-based or rattling the saber a little bit to be political, because we're right now in the middle of an election. Well, we're not in the middle. We're at the tail end of it, essentially. We're running for 30 days. So we got one party that's basically saying, hey, we're at war with America. And if you've ever watched the movie Wag the Dog, it's actually right out of that playbook. So you have to kind of take what they're saying with a degree of thought. Like one of those things where you go, we've had a trading partner for decades, and that hasn't changed. We're still going to trade with the U.S. That's just the nature of what we do here in Canada. We've been doing it forever and a day. It's probably going to continue. Whether it's an interruption in the next 3 years, whether it's a change in the way in which how things are done, there's still going to be manufacturing in Southern Ontario. So it's one of those things where, have the rules of the game changed? In all likelihood, yes. Is it one of those things where we've been really bad at negotiating and talking and really getting forward the idea of where we want to go with that? We've been horrible because we closed down Parliament. The leader that we have is an interim leader who really can't make any decisions. So anything that he does say, he can't really do. It's just the nature of it. And a lot of folks fall in that category where they don't quite comprehend that. The car is running. Let's just give this an idea. The car is running. The cruise control is on. They've tethered the steering wheel. But there's really nobody driving for the next 30 days. Like, that's really what it is. So you can get the him and haw, and we're going to do this, we're going to battle that, it doesn't matter until there's actually a proper government in position and Parliament is open again, so that we can actually sit down, have a discussion and say, look guys, where are we? What can we do? How can we help? Where can we go? And we've got a lot of issues, and we've got some of the same issues that the Americans have. So it's one of those things where they've got a huge deficit, we've got a huge deficit. They're putting up a trade barrier. Why? Because they need to protect themselves a little bit from the world, because the global market hasn't been very friendly as of late. And the whole global system has changed dramatically after COVID. That's just the reality of it. So they're saying, look, they need to get the industry back up and running. They need to get back to where they were pre-COVID, or even better. Like they're shooting for that. Which, if you were sitting at the desk and you're saying to yourself, what am I going to do? Well, the tariffs seem to be the easiest and simplest solution for that, for the quickest response and the ability to pay down that debt. And they're going through a huge renovation job right now. So if you look at it from a standpoint of they're starting from ground zero and ripping things apart, it's like doing a home renovation. The cabinets are in the living room. The garage is filled with garbage. The yard hasn't been cut. There might be a fire in the back room. So they're dealing with all that stuff, right? So once they get all that tidying and everything kind of out of the way, you're probably going to find that at some point we're all going to breathe a little bit and say, okay, we're in North America. We are tethered together. It is what it is. We need to work to be better on the whole. So hopefully when we get this election out, whether you're what party you pick, it doesn't really matter. The world has changed as far as that's concerned. I lean one way. I'm not going to tell you what that is, basically because I think you need to make your own decision in that regards. But it's one of those things where there are changes coming. It's one of those things, it's just the way of the world. Everything is kind of in flux. I wish I could do a channel where we could talk about that and where we could say, hey, from my perspective, this is where things have really altered or kind of derailed a little bit. And it's not that anything's particularly horrible or nasty or terrible or anything along that line, but you don't need to be rattling and selling the fear to say that things have changed, because they are, and they have. And it's one of those things that just how we react and how we change and develop as we are here is key as far as that's concerned. And I think it's more of a level-headed approach we need to take and sit down and actually have a conversation, which we haven't done. Like really, we don't even have the parties talking together. Like that's the great thing about Canada is you get in the Parliament, and ideally you got one side arguing one, you got another side arguing another, you get other parties involved, and you come up with a compromise or something that meets in the middle or works properly. That's the concept behind it. That's the idea. And without Parliament in place, we just have to listen to the noise, unfortunately. So hopefully the election comes out, we get a good set of rules, we know what direction we're going in, and yeah, we're going to be in a rebuilding state because we really haven't recovered from 2008. We didn't recover from COVID. We've had some long-term issues when it comes to Canadian development. We've had some issues related to just an influx of change of directions. As a country, we haven't been very focused. It's just one of those things where it's the harsh reality. Things have come up. Now we need to sit back and go, okay, let's start tackling some of these things. And it's not one particular item that's going to push us over the edge. It's the fear-mongering and the rattling and again, go watch the movie Wag the Dog, Why We're in This Wonderful Election, because once you watch that, you're going to go, oh, okay, so you're trying to distract me with this noise when we really should be talking about healthcare. Oh, you're distracting me with the same noise, but we really probably should be talking about a massive deficit over here. Oh, you're distracting me with this noise. Oh, well, we probably should be talking about border security over here. Oh, distract me with this noise again, we probably should be talking about building infrastructure. We probably should be talking about building homes. But we're not, as far as that's concerned. And that's a real frustrating moment. And if you're out there listening to state-run media, counterbalance it, please. There's a lot of balanced media out there. Go and listen to what you would perceive to be a crazy guy for a little bit and go, okay, what are they talking about? And then watch your state-run media, and you're going to go, oh, okay, clearly they're all the way over here. They're all the way over here. There's got to be something in the middle, right? So just don't go too crazy as far as that's concerned. We can all kind of breathe a little bit. Grand scheme of things, we look at history. We're not in a Great Depression. We're not in a World War. We're not at the beginnings of a World War. We've got some trade issues. We've got some very minor things to kind of get over, and it's just stuff that we can work through. So it's not the end of the world, which is what everyone seems to be portraying. Again, noise. Watch the movie Wag the Dog. It's an older one. It's American-based, so it's kind of a U.S. thing. But I think in Canada, we've got a couple of the parties that have adopted American-style politics, which, to be honest with you, I don't think that works very well. And if you look at the dynamics of Canada, we're such a diverse range. Like, I'm now looking at the Bloc and thinking, wow, they make some sensible arguments. They actually make sense, opposed to our current Prime Minister. And you're going, and I'm in Ontario, and that's not a norm. And you kind of go, wow, And then you listen to the other parties, and you kind of go, it would be really nice if Parliament was open again. It would be really nice if you could hear the Bloc, if you could hear the Conservatives, if you could hear the NDP, if you could get the Liberals. They all get together, they debate an item. Yes, it's a lot of noise. Yes, it's a slow process. But at least at the end of the day, if it's a nicely balanced Parliament, things move along pretty reasonable as far as that's concerned, and with a tempered approach. So hopefully that's what happens in the future. So I just wanted to say, if you're in the automotive industry like I am, I'm in the manufacturing end of it. I'm just a little cog in the big machine. So that's all I am, just a worker bee. Don't get too overly panicked about it. We have bigger problems. So that tariff, if you look at the white paper the U.S. put out, there's a lot of if, ands, or buts, or does it do this, does it do that? Nobody really knows. There's no real expert on it yet. and that won't be until it's actually really implemented in April, where somebody will pull out the old reading glasses and sit down with a little legal degree and go, oh, well, it's a blended tariff. In other words, maybe it starts at 2.5 and then it builds, or based on percentage of the motor vehicle, or so forth, content regulations. So until we get a real working knowledge of that, I wouldn't get too panicky as far as that's concerned. The other one is if you're in border services, which I've got a little impact with that with some of the family members. That's going to change probably real quick. So just be aware of that. You've been understaffed, underappreciated, I think, overworked. I think you've probably got a little bit of a window of relief right now because not many people are doing the border shopping. But again, that's got to be addressed too. And I think it's one of those things where you haven't had the proper equipment, haven't had the proper support. I think that's got to change up. And I think that's, again, coming shortly. And I think that's just one of those things that it's going to come regardless of who's in power, because the world is going to dictate that as far as that's concerned. So hopefully it just gets you settled down a little bit. Breathe. Don't listen to the we're going to war noise, or there's an economic war, or there are tariffs, or a war on Canada. Look at who's telling you that in the first place, right? And then counterbalance it. Look for another media source to say, okay, well, that's what their approach is. What's the other one? So just be aware of that. So that's kind of what's been top of mind for me. And again, I've got probably going to do 12 live sessions, maybe 24 on OMVEC. So we're going to talk about, again, doing a sales license in Ontario. We're still doing Turo. So I got 5 more months left on that. And then we're going to have an assessment. Then I'm going to put up the podcast on my experiences on Turo. So if you're interested in getting notifications on when the podcast is up and running, that would be great. Put a thumbs up, subscribe, do something along that line. These little recaps, I try and keep it 15 minutes. They're just in the car as I'm traveling. They're kind of free thoughts. So again, I'm just sitting outside Walmart doing my shopping. I thought I'd have a little ramble. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Watch the politics. Watch the movie, because I think it's pretty good. Wag the Dog. I think it'll probably put you at ease a little bit and get you kind of the understanding of what the American style politics are like. And they're in Canada now. So again, it's that fear-mongering, or something's on fire, put this out, don't pay attention to the other hand. You know, that type of deal. So please watch the movie. Have a pleasant and enjoyable day, and I hope you enjoy the internet.